All right, good afternoon and welcome to the Skillup Show. Yes, good afternoon and welcome to the Skillup Show. It's that time of the day where we talk about parenting. How is everybody doing this beautiful Monday afternoon? It's 1 p.m. Where is everybody? If you are here, don't just be in the background. Please say something in the comment section so that I know that you have joined me because you should be here right now. If you're on Facebook and you are watching me right now, please do let us know. Sorry about that. Do let us know where you are watching us from. If you are watching on Facebook right now, it is 1 p.m. Tell your friend to tell your friend to tell a neighbor and a colleague that it is time for the Skill Up Show. So why don't you go ahead and tag them so that they can join us on the show? If you are on YouTube, send a link to a friend, to a loved one, to a parent of a toddler, a school-age child, or a preteen, so that they can be a part of the show this afternoon. All righty, so we are moving on, and today we're talking about adopting a parenting style that teach problem solving to your young children. How can you, as a parent, or what kind of parenting style can you adopt as a parent that will help teach your children to be problem solvers? Their parents. A child's greatest tool isn't found in the classroom. We make the mistakes over and over again to think that all our children need to solve problems or to be the best versions of themselves is in the classroom. But I tell you this today, that your child's greatest tools to success, your child's greatest tool to becoming the best version of themselves, the greatest tool that your child needs to evolve and to be successful is not in the classroom. It is in their ability to solve problems. So it simply means that as parents and as primary caregivers, it is important that we teach our children how to think if we want them to conquer any challenge that they encounter in life. If our children are going to navigate through life on their own, if they're going to solve the problems that they must encounter, yes, they must encounter, then it is important that we do not rely on what happens in the classroom to equip our children. We cannot rely on the tools that they get in the classroom alone to help our children become the best version of themselves. We must understand the place of problem solving and teach our children to start seeing themselves as saviors, to start seeing themselves as solutions, right, to the problem. That way, they are able to navigate through any kind of challenge that they will encounter in life. My name is Maribel Chima, and I am the founder of the Parenting Through Mentorship Academy and PTM Resources. And I am the proud matron of the Mastermind Circle, a peer mentorship and accountability group that we run for young children and preteens. If you are on the show right now, let us know that you have joined us and that you are here, ready to throttle with me. If you are not here yet, you have a friend who isn't here yet, why don't you go ahead and let them know that it is time for the Skill Up Show, where we skill our young children, our school-age children, and our preteens up so that they can navigate life even as they evolve. All right, so we're going to go right into it. I'm going to be sharing 3 steps, okay? 3 steps that you can take as a parent to help your child in your parenting, right? 3 steps that you can take in your parenting that will help your child become someone who can solve problems, or someone that can see themselves as problem solvers. The first thing you want to do is to build your child to even see themselves as problem solvers. All right. The way you can do this is to make the child understand that they can solve problems. And what better way is there to help them understand this than to actually get them to solve problems? So first thing first, let them understand that they can solve problems. And the way you can do this is by allowing them solve small problems. So you see, when we talk about the children the child's natural curiosity should be preserved. When we say children should do chores, when we say children should be allowed to do hands-on activities, when we say children should be outdoor more, playing and achieving a lot of things through play. All right, we know what we are talking about. You must have heard on this platform over and over again that the work of a child is play. The job of a child is play, because it is when children play that they understand their world. It is when children play that they interact with the elements in their world. It is when they play that they discover how each of the elements in their world operates, or how it is that they can navigate through them. All right. So if our children will have to solve problems, if our children will have to see themselves as problem solvers and as saviors, then our children must be put in that place where they can solve problems and where they can save indeed. You cannot give a title of a champion to someone who hasn't won. Okay, you become a champion by winning. So we don't want to just call our children by names or call them by titles. All right, if we do that, at some point they will believe it for some time. But the time will come where they will recognize, children will come to recognize what a true champion is like, or who a true champion is like. And the moment they begin to see a true champion for what a true champion is, then they begin to think less and less of themselves as champions, because hey, championship has got proof, right? When you are a champion, when you win, there is proof. There is always the showing of the work. All right, so there's always work done. And after that work is done, then you win, and then there's the proof of you winning. So if you like, call your child a champion, call your child all the blissful names, right, for the longest time. If you do not guide them, if you do not direct them, and you do not create opportunity or help them find opportunities to win, opportunities to be champions, then a time will come that they will stop believing all the tales and all the affirmations and all the names that you are calling them. So yes, we say, let's say the things that are not as though they were, right? We should speak of the things that are not as though they were. We should affirm our children. We should encourage our children. We should make our children think of themselves as people who can do anything. But we can't stop there. You can do that when they are very little. Pump them up. Do all of those things. Give them all of those affirmations. Give them all of those validations. But with this, we must teach them how to actually assume that place, because it is only when they assume it that they can begin to believe it, because then they can see themselves truly as these people that we say they are. And that's where there is the ability, there is believability. Right, that's where they can really believe, and not just, hail themselves, right? So you want to be that parent who isn't just hailing your child. You want to be that parent that is not just so good as cheerleading and, filling your children up with praises. You don't want to turn them actually into praise junkies, because if you keep praising them and you keep hailing them, as we say, if you keep hailing them and you keep praising them, and they never come round, or you never come round to helping them understand what it really means to win, or they don't see themselves really win as they would see others win, then at some point they will just become praise junkies. All right, they will just become praise junkies, because they know that they really do not have these abilities. But they would then only depend on those praises. So you know what happens with that a lot of the times, when our children go out there and the world is not praising them, when they go out there and people are not praising them, because hey, it is the work, it is the outcome that we will praise when they come out. You can call them all you want to call them at home. You can say whatever you want to say. You can pump their ginger them and pump their ego right in your home. The world is not going to join you in doing that. The world is going to praise the results that it sees. And so you will put your child in that place where the child gets out in the world. Sometimes it begins right in their classroom, where in their classroom they don't get the kind of praises that you give them, and they become because they are already praise junkies, always expecting the praises and getting the praises from you, they get out there and nothing is happening, and your children are always upset, always crying. And we see all of these things. This kind of situation you see in school when during the end of a school year, you see parents who go to school to fight. Oh, every child should be given, there's always something that the children are good at. Just give everybody, so that you will not destroy their self-esteem. Dear parents, that's not where your child's self-esteem comes from, really. All right, so that is not don't hang your child's self-esteem on what it is that his teacher or the school is doing. It's from home. All right, it's from home. After you have finished building them, okay, after you have finished hailing them and telling them what is possible, help them actually achieve what is possible. That's the self-esteem that we are talking, is the kind of self-esteem that we are talking about, not the one that is achieved through people giving you freebies. All right, it's not party pack. So don't tell children to go to school and force schools to give your children an award because child A, B, C, D, E got an award. So why shouldn't F, E, why shouldn't every other person get? So in fact, you hear all kinds of arguments. You hear parents say that every child has something that they are good at. The school should give every child something. It's not, it doesn't work like that in the real world. So let's not raise our children for a world that does not exist. It's not those your free presents or free whatever we want to call them. That's not what will give your child, the confidence that you're talking about. What will give them the confidence that you are talking about is actually truly, solving the problems, seeing themselves as problem solvers, finding solutions to problems, seeing themselves start and create something from scratch and finish that thing. Seeing them look at their environment and they see problems, and then they go out of their way, they push and they do everything within their power to solve the problems that they see. That is where it comes from. That's where the real self-esteem, that's where that boost actually comes from. And that is what we want to do for our children today through the way we structure our parenting, through what it is that we do in our home, through what it is or how it is that we parent our children. So I said in a post this morning that, what you want to start seeing yourself. Okay, if you don't see yourself like that already, I want you to start seeing yourself as a homeschooling parent. Every single one of us, if you are intentional, you are homeschooling your child. You are partially schooling your child, because really, what is homeschool? Right? What is really homeschool? Homeschool is intentional parenting. So if you're parenting intentionally, okay, you don't want to call yourself a homeschooler. You are partially homeschooling. All right. Since those who are homeschooling are actually those whose children do not go to regular schools at all, right? They do not go to traditional schools. So for you that you have your child in a traditional school and then you are intentional at home, I promise you, you are also homeschooling. I hope I'm even in the right group, because I'm looking at this. I hope I have the right, link. I hope I didn't click on the wrong link. All right, so let's throttle on. If you can see me, you can hear me, you are that's on this stream right now. Please let me know that you are, so that I know that we did not share the wrong link. All right, because it's looking like it's a wrong link. I hope it's not. Anyway, so let's move on. So 3 ways or 3 steps that you will take. All right, number 1 is create a supportive environment. All right, so in your parenting, you want to ensure that your home or in your home, there is a supportive environment, an environment that supports your child to solve problems, an environment that supports your child to identify problems in that environment, an environment that allows your child to be curious enough. It is when we are curious that we are able to see the problems in our environment. You don't see the problem in your environment by just lying down on a couch and watching TV all day. You don't see the problems in your environment by lying on a couch and playing video games all day. You don't see the problems in your environment if all you do is watch TV shows. So if our children are going to be problem solvers, then we must create an environment that allows them preserve their innate curiosity or their instincts, basically. And this happens right from when they are babies, right from when they are little children. If your little children at the point where they begin to try and move around to understand their environment, if they are not stopped in their track every time, if they are not told to stop it all of the time, you see that the child will become more and more curious. Where is that curiosity coming from? The curiosity rather is an innate, it's something that is natural. All right, children or human beings were born to be curious, because it is through our curiosity that we are able to navigate through our environment. It is when we navigate, or when we try to find how to navigate in our environment, that we discover that environment. Think about it this way: you move into a new country. For those of you who have relocated, or you have moved, I mean, even if you have not relocated, you have traveled to a country, or traveled to a new city, or traveled or gone to a new place at one point or the other, or even if it's simply going to a new workplace. What happened when you got there? You didn't start knowing, or you didn't come around to knowing that environment by just waking up in the morning and sitting down in your house. It is when you started going outside, you started taking the map, perhaps, and using the map to get to destinations, right? Or you started going around trying to figure out your way, and you realize that every time you go out, you come back. Every time you go out, you come back discovering a new route to a place, or a new route to, something like that. You always discover something new, or you find something new every time you go out, particularly if you decide to walk, right? So you realize that while you're walking, you're able to figure out, oh, this path actually leads to this place, and that road connects with that other road, and all of that. So as you keep doing this, you discover your environment more. So it's the same thing with our children. If we allow them to be curious, we allow that curiosity to take its place, our children would discover their environment more. Okay, and if we allow this, they will discover the problems in that environment. While they are navigating, they will see, oh, if I take this route, I'm able to get to a place faster. That is it. The child has already solved the problem. In that instance, the child has solved the problem of getting to a destination in a shorter time. So it's the same thing with every other problem in their environment. I mean, the story of Mark Zuckerberg, it says that his father had his office, in one part of the house, right? And the father would give him access to come into the office and, just tinker with the computer, figure out stuff on his own, and all of that. And then what did he do? At some point, he wanted to create something for his father, and he went ahead and created a software that could allow his father and his secretary communicate without the secretary having to go back and forth, or, let the father know by probably shouting, I don't know, or something. I don't know what means they were using at the time, right, to get the father to see his clients. Maybe the secretary or the whoever it was, right, his assistant, probably had to move back and forth. And so Mark thought of a way that he could solve that problem. And so he created the ZookNet. I think that's what it was called. He created the ZookNet that could help the person at the front desk communicate with the father in his office when they have a client for him to see. So it was only because that child's curiosity was preserved and the child was given the avenue to explore that curiosity. That is why the child is able to identify the problem, and then, of course, he was able to go ahead and create a solution to that problem. This is how creatives become. This is how innovators and inventors become. All right. If we kill their natural instincts, then our children are unable to see problems. They are unable to discover problems. And so they are unable to solve problems in their environment. So in your parenting, you want to ensure that your environment, or you create support in your environment. And one way to do this is by allowing your children to be curious. Another way to do this is to avoid giving, micromanaging the children, giving too many instructions and over directing them. All right. Some of us will give our children tasks to do, and we would insist that they do it only the way we do it. Okay. Now, if you keep insisting on your children doing it only the way you do it, then your children will be stuck in your own way. Your children will not find their own way through anything. So it is necessary that while we teach our children or we model to our children, we allow our children take the examples that they have get from us. And as they practice, that they're able to navigate through order, they're able to tweak what it is that they've learned from us. Our children should make progress. All right. They should be progressive, right, on their journey. So yes, you should encourage them to be progressive. You should encourage them to add their own flair to whatever it is that they are doing by allowing them do this. Don't keep insisting on children doing things the exact way that you do them. All right. Because if you give them a chance, I promise you, sometimes you will be shocked that these children can get their way, or they can, they have so many more refined ways to achieve things than you can. A lot of times when I have things to do on Excel or PowerPoint, I promise you, I would rather have my son do it. Not because I cannot do it, or not because I don't do them a lot of times. I just realize that he does them more swiftly, and he just has a way. I don't know what it is, right? I think it's the times, right? Sometimes he's working on the documents, and the shorthand methods that he uses to get his things done, I'm there clicking this and clicking that and highlighting this and highlighting that, and he's just there, papa, he's done. So if you allow children, you will see that they have so many ideas inside of them. All right. So model to them and allow them to tweak the things that you teach them. Allow them to tweak what it is that they have learned from you. After all, it is all of us. We are constantly praying that our children will be better than us. Now you have an opportunity for your child to be better than you. You are insisting that they must do things your way. So no, if you're going to raise a child who is able to problem solve, then you will give them free hand and you will not over direct them. Number one, ensure that you allow their curiosity to be intact and allow them be curious in that environment. Allow them explore. Create an environment where your children can navigate, or your children can find their way through that environment and figure out things on their own. Number two, avoid over directing them. Number three is you want to normalize challenges in your environment. Constantly have challenges in your environment. We do this with the children in the mastermind circle. All right, so I talked about our peer mentorship and accountability group. All right, the mastermind circle for children between ages 6 and 13. We graduate the children out of the mastermind circle when they turn 14, because the mastermind circle is a foundation ground where we help build the children. We want to equip the children to be able to navigate on their own. Self-direction is a core for us. All right. Self-direction is a core for us in the mastermind circle. Being able to take initiative is a core for us in the mastermind circle. And we do this by having the children set their own goals, plan to achieve those goals, and then we help them break these goals down in a way that they are making an effort every day towards executing that goal. Now, in the process of this, we give them small tasks every now and then. All right, we give them small tasks, little tasks that will challenge them every now and then. All right, particularly this week, our kids have different level of tasks that they are doing this week. Right, just last week, they were turning in their vision board that they created on their own through a step-by-step approach. Think about staying a whole 4 weeks teaching the children and going through creating a vision board. See, at the end of those 4 weeks, even the 6-year-olds are able to create a vision board on their own. Because no, we didn't just come and have a class for 1 hour or 2 hours. We didn't just come and instruct them in an instruction class. We didn't just come to coach them and we finished coaching and telling them the importance of this, the importance of that, the importance of that. And after all of that, we now tell them, oh, now go and create. And no, we don't do that, because we understand the dynamics of the group of children that we are raising or that we are nurturing. We understand that these are, sorry about this, just give me a second. All right, so we understand that these are young children, they are school age children, they're pretty. We understand that the dynamics are different with this group of children. So we are working based on their peculiarity. And this is why I say the mastermind is a solid foundation ground where everything that we do is not just about instruction, it's a little instruction, it is more of modeling. So we do more of modeling, a little instructions here and there, and then we do hands-on. Our children in the mastermind are hands-on. You cannot be in the mastermind and you will not find yourself doing or creating something every time. You won't do that. All right. So do the same thing in your home. Normalize challenges. Give your children little challenges here and there. They are very key in helping your children become problem solvers. When you take on challenges, when you take on small challenges every now and then, when you encounter bigger challenges in the future, the brain does not tell you this challenge is big. The brain tells you, oh, it's another challenge. And what you do is you just go ahead on and tackle it without even thinking of the size of it. That's the truth about it. But when children are not exposed to taking challenges, you realize that the moment anything looks like it's a challenge, you see us repelling. We don't like challenges. We don't like anything that challenges us. And that's because right from our homes, we were not raised we were not, challenges were not normalized basically, right, in our homes. And so when we see challenges, we want to run away. It's the reason your children will walk into the kitchen and they see that there are dishes to be done, and each of them begins to move away, hoping that the next person will do it. It's because they were not taught to take on challenge head on. Do you understand? Sometimes we think we're doing all of these things even at home in our parenting. But what we realize is we are doing a lot of instructing and castigating. So you are supposed, make sure you wash the plates before I come back, and that's about it. You go. And then you come back, and then the child has not done it. And then you go, I didn't tell you, at the end of the day. So you just dropped an instruction, and then you just ended up castigating at the end of the day. So there is a system that you can create that ensures that there is a step-by-step process and there is accountability for your child to actually do that. How about you call the child before you get home? Hey, sweetie, I'm going to be home in the next 1 hour. I was just wondering, have you done the things I asked you to do? And the child goes that, okay, which one? And the child is able to, on his own, think of what it is that you asked him to do. Oh, yeah, the plate. I haven't. Let me get to it right now. You have allowed the child do some level of work there. Thinking about what you asked him to do in the first place, you have created a prompt for him. All you did is you prompted him, and the child was able to remember on his own that he needed to do this, and he was able to take action on his own. They are two different things. These are some of the things that we are talking about. All right, model. We cannot overemphasize the place of modeling. Model what it is that you want your child to do and how it is that you want them to tackle these things. Okay, he said, the rule of thumb is do not have expectations of a child, right, on something that you have not taught them how to do. So model, first of all, to the child. When you model, then, of course, create expectations. That expectation will lead the child to do, and then because the child has an example, the child has seen how it's done. The child has, what do you call it? The child has seen how you have done it. So the child is able to replicate what it is that you have done. And with time, the child is able to own it, and the child is able to create something even more out of what you have done. Okay, we become when we behold. Modeling is important so your child can behold you do it, so that your child can replicate it. And with time, your child is able to take it to the next level. All right. Yes. And then the last one is, you need to foster an environment in your home where communication is open. Okay, let your children always have, that communication line open where you can instruct, where your children can actually bring their complaints to you, where they can bring their complaints to you, where they can try and negotiate. All right, they can try and negotiate through a process, and all of that. Oh, I want you to do this. Oh, mom, I have my homework to do right now. Is it possible for me to do it after I have done with my homework? That is okay. So this kind of environment, right, where there is a communication line, where your children can negotiate, where your children can ask for permission, where your children, can try and gain more grounds or gain more time for something. What it does is it allows a sense of freedom. It allows a sense of self a sense of worth or worthiness. Basically, when the child knows that they will be heard, they can be heard, and their opinion also matter. It tells the child that they are important and that you are willing to listen to them. All right, bottom line is they're going to do it, and they're able to negotiate a different time. Don't be too rigid. All right, so this kind of supportive environment will help you nurture children who can solve problems on their own. The next step is create a system in your home that teaches your child using a pathway. All right, we say structure problem solving system. All right, where there is a way to go about it. Step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. All right, create that kind of system where you teach your children how to solve problems. All right, we do this with the children in education. It's called what's it called? What is that called now? In science, it's called my son used to love that topic very well in science. Anyway, it's the topic. I can't remember the topic. Is that topic that talks about identifying the problem, brainstorming, all of that, hypothesis. Why is it not coming? Sorry, I'm sure I'll remember before the end of the session. But basically, create a structural problem solving process. All right, create that kind of thing, some form of a roadmap or a pathway to solving problems. So teach your children that when they find a problem in their environment, and bring this to their everyday life. What are the problems that we're talking about here now in our environment? It could be a simple problem like, I am hot. What am I going to do? Right? I am hot. What can I do to take care of the situation? Right now, I am hot. What do I do to feel better? What do I do to, take care of that problem? Because it is a problem. It could be, I am hungry. I am hungry. It means you have a problem in your hand. Now, you must create a system in your home where your everyday conversations can be tied to this learning process that we're talking about. All right, your everyday activity in your home, put it in a way that they can be put into the conversations of the things that you are learning, whatever it is that we're learning. For instance, if you are in the mastermind circle, we have our monthly theme. Our monthly theme is practically put into the conversations that we have with the children. Like this month, for instance, we are talking about discovering your talents and your gifts, okay, and your interests, and of course, honing them into skills. Now, in the conversations that we have with the children, we're talking in the morning, we're talking during our small group meetings, we are talking talents, we are talking, skills, we're talking. So this becomes our everyday conversations. I'm talking to a child, we're having a one-on-one session, and I'm talking, okay, so what did you do for Skill Friday today? During your me time, did you create anything? Right? So this becomes your conversation. Your learning is put into your everyday conversation, right? Because it is the things that we give energy to that will increase. It is the things that we give energy to that will, grow. I was at a session today in the inner circle, TIP inner circle, Coach Wendy inner circle, what's it called? My parenting journey, right? And someone said, how did she put that thing? She said something like, what we lay emphasis on. I can't remember how she put it, but what she was saying is the things that we ignore, right? She said the things that we ignore today, with our children, it will totally disappear. So if you ignore something today, like it's not a big deal. For instance, let's say in your home, spirituality is not a big deal, right? Whether you go to mosque or not, whether you go to church or not, whether the children, have a skill or not, whether your children decide to build, create stuff or not, it's inconsequential. Like, okay, if you do it, it's okay. If you don't do it, it's also okay. It's not an issue. It's neither here or there. So it's not something that is important in your home. I promise you, in your children's generation, it will totally disappear, because in yours, it was neither here nor there. All right. So whatever it is that you want your children to replicate, whatever you want to see in the children's life, whatever you want to pass on to your children as a legacy, you need to make it important. You need to prioritize it. If you prioritize it today, then your children will magnify it. Okay. If you prioritize it today, your children will magnify it. But if you are not concerned about these things, if you trivialize them, if you ignore them, I promise you, it will disappear in your children's generation. She said that today, and I went, yeah, come on. That is it. It is so it. This is why a lot of the things that our parents did, right? A lot of the things that we saw our parents do, especially those ones that they did and we didn't want to be a part of it, we were not interested in it, and they didn't bother with whether we were interested or we wanted to be a part of it, and we just bickered around it. I beg you people, this thing, it doesn't make sense and all of that, and they didn't put their feet or their foot on the ground and ensure that they passed those things to us as a legacy. A lot of those things are dead right now because, hey, he was trivialized, right? He was ignored, right? It wasn't a big deal to them. So yes, we killed it. And this is how our children will kill the things that are important, or the things that are important to us today that we do not magnify or that we treat carelessly. All right. So this is what we're talking about. All right. So for whatever it is you want to do, create that system. Teach your children how to identify problems in their environment. So you have a problem. You have seen that this is a problem. You have seen that, okay, this thing is broken. All right. The next thing you want to do is stop and brainstorm. How am I going to solve this problem? Thomas Edison said that it is only about how many percent of people that think, right? That 25% of people, how did he put it? He said 5%. I can't even remember the figures, but something like it is 25% of people think that they think, right? That 5% actually think, and that the rest, I mean, 75% or something like that, would rather die than think. What this is saying is there are very few of us human beings who actually think. There are very few people who think. Many of us just act without thinking. If you check it, think about it. A lot of times people act without thinking. That is why we are so spontaneous. That is why we are so reactive. Before you even open your mouth, people assume what it is that you want to say, and they attack you immediately. Have you been in that situation that you've not even dropped the sentence yet someone is already coming for your neck, and the person is already attacking you so badly? You're wondering, what have I said? All right. So this is the kind of people that we are, the kind of generation that we are, where many of us do not think. And this is the reason why creating is a problem, because it takes thinking, right? It takes thinking to create anything at all. Right? It takes thinking to create. It takes you thinking and planning to say, this is the end result that I want. Okay, this is what I want to see at the end. And then you begin to think backward, or you begin to walk backward. Because if you're able to see the end result, you're able to visualize what it is that you want to create, then you can begin to create gradually until you get there. It is because you have created that vision that you know that you have reached your destination, because you had a picture at the back of your mind. But a lot of times people cannot sit down. We can't calm ourselves down to think. We cannot allow ourselves go through the process of thinking. And so there is usually hardly a destination or a vision. So that's why we are constantly going in a visual circle, because there is no destination. There is no end. So that's why when you tell people to create parenting plans, you tell people, oh, to come and do this. What is it that you want for your children? Where are you going? They tell you, all this paper thing. thing. You people are too technical. You people are too serious about these things. It's because we don't want to think. We don't want to say, you know something, this is the plan that I have for my children for the next 20 years. This is my 20-year plan. This is my 10-year plan. This is my launch plan. This is all of that. Because we don't want to do this. This is why we don't want to hear anything that has to do with process. So if you're going to teach your children, if our children are going to understand or learn and understand processes, then we might as well start teaching them how to solve problems, going through a structured problem solving process. All right. So help them learn to identify the problems, help them brainstorm a solution. So you can do that even in your small conversations. Something happens, or the child spills something, or the child breaks something, and the child comes to you, so mommy, I'm sorry, this has happened. It's okay, calm down, calm down, calm down, calm down. Now I need you to go and sit down and think about what you're going to do about this right now. All right, go sit down, think about it. When you have thought about it, come back and share with me what you thought about. And so the child goes away, and then after a while, the child comes back. All right, and then the child says, I think I can do this, or I think I can do that. I can think I can do that. What you have done for that child is you have given the child the opportunity to think. Okay, you are teaching them how to think. Yes, it is a learned skill. Learning is a learned skill. Thinking is a learned skill. So we can teach people how to think. You can teach people how to meditate. You can teach people how to visualize. We can teach all of these things. They are all learned skills. All right. All right, so when they do that, after they've thought of a solution, I teach them how to weigh their pros and their cons. Okay, if you do this, what will happen? If I do that, what will happen? Okay, and you can do this also when your children are trying to make choices. When they're trying to make choices about anything at all, they're making choices about what to eat, they're making choices about what to wear, they're making choices about where to go. They're making choices like that. As I said, bring your teaching into your everyday life situation. Have conversations about what you're teaching your children. That way it becomes a part of life. It is not a chore. It is not a chore to think. It is everyday life. So even right there at the dining table, throw out, throw a problem there, and you guys think about it and solve it together. Do these exercises every now and then. Okay, do these exercises every now and then. Remember, we said let your children have challenges every now and then. All right, so throw it in there and then do the back and forth thinking and all of that. Another amazing way that you can do this is to create a system in your home where you are constantly evaluating, analyzing, and trying to figure out other ways, together. You can do that through sharing books together. So in my home, we are constantly reading a book. At every point, we have a book that we're reading with the children. And when we read these books, right, what we do is we read the books and we review the books together. While we're reviewing, children learn to share their perspective on things. While we're reviewing, children learn to share their opinion on things. While we're reviewing, we're able to throw in problems, right? The stories always have a problem. You're able to look at the problem and tackle the problem. Now, many times, when you do this exercise with your children over and over again, you bring your children to the point where your children themselves can figure out, problems, or can even create a problem from the story. And, or sometimes they can actually infer a solution, that goes opposite to what the problem was in the story. Something can happen in the story and you hear, my daughter will be like, if I were him, I wouldn't have done that. I would have done this. This is how I would have gone about it. This is what I should have done. I would have done. There are times my daughter will tell you, I don't like how the story ended. Do you know, if the author had done it like this, if he had said this, it would have ended in a better way. And I'm like, okay. All right. So basically, when you create that environment and you start these things, you empower your children to think without a box. All right. As my coach would say, you empower them to think not outside, not within, without a box at all, no limitations. All right. So the next one you want to do is, how when they finish weighing all of the pros and the cons, then teach them how to decide. See, teach your children to make decisions. You see that nonsense that you ask people, what would you eat? And they go, anything. Don't allow your children do that, because a lot of times in this part of the world, especially, we don't know how to make informed decisions. We don't know how to make informed decisions. We don't want to think. We don't want to be stressed. We don't want to do anything that at the end it will be said that, okay, it is because of your choice. All right. A lot of times we are even constantly second guessing ourselves. And so, because we're second guessing ourselves, to even make a simple decision is a problem. We think, oh, it's being humble. There's nothing like that. It's not humility. It's just the inability to make informed choices, the inability to weigh on two things and choose from them. That is what it is. So do not accept. What do you want? Which of them? If like anyone. I don't take that from my children. I tell them it's not acceptable around here. If I didn't want you to pick or have a choice, I wouldn't ask you. I would give you any one of them. All right. So if I'm going to go ahead and ask you which one do you want, then you should have a preference. You should always have a preference. You are a human being. You should have a preference, and you should be able to say, I want this for this reason. Okay, so it's the ability to, get into a situation and weigh the situation, weigh your pros and your cons, immediately, and be able to say, the least you can do is say, okay, can you give me some time to think about it? So tell your children to ask for time to think about it rather than to say, I don't know anyone. I don't know. It's okay now. It's actually second guessing. Sometimes it's timidity, it's lack of self-esteem. You will see people in situations, right? Situations where people need to move on. People need to move on, and they're just waiting for your decision to move on something. And you're there wasting people's time forming what I don't know, trying to act all humble and all of that. All those mock humility, don't get your children into that space. Tell them to be so bold, weigh their options and make choices and move on. It is strength. It is power. All right? It is power, it is strength, to know how to make choices, but teach them to think about it before they make the choices. All right. So we're talking about the second way. All right. The second step that you can take to create that in your home or in your parenting that would help you nurture a child that can solve problems. We said the first step is to create a supportive environment in your home. And we talked about 5 different things that you can do to create a supportive environment. We can model to them in that environment, normalize challenges in your environment, foster open communication in your environment, allow the children to be curious, of course, and avoid micromanaging them. Allow them do things on their own without you insisting that it must be your way or no other way. Okay, we are in the second part now. Second thing that you can do, or step that you can take to raise children who are curious, and we say, help your children learn how to use structural roadmap or a structural problem solving style, all right, where they ask different questions that will help them solve a problem. They start by identifying what the problem is, and then the next thing after that is they are able to brainstorm a solution to that problem. When they finish brainstorming, they are able to weigh the pros and the cons. If I do this, what will happen? If I go this way, if I try this, they're able to weigh pros and cons in all of that. And then the next thing after that is let them make their choice distinctively and with their full chest, because they have gone through a process. Don't accept that your children are constantly saying, I don't know anyone, it's okay. No, don't do that. It's laced with what do you call it, fake humility. It's usually laced with timidity. A lot of the times, because they are timid, is because they are trying to form humble. There's no humility in being able to make choices. All right. If you are not able to make choices like these, then you are unable to lead. How can you not come and be a leader, and then your subordinate or the people that you lead are asking, where do we go or what do we do? And you as a leader, you're the one asking them, what do you guys think? What do you understand? It just shows that You do not know, you don't know what you are doing. So teach your children that they should be able to make choices. Okay, if you're going to be a problem solver, then you should be able to weigh 2, 3 options and pick one after you have gone through this process. So yes, the ability to make choices is a skill, and you will teach it, we will teach it to our children, because it takes, that is one of the skills that is needed as a leader. That is one of the skills that is needed as a problem solver. That is one of the skills that is needed as someone who can give or create value. For you as a creator, as an inventor, okay, and as an innovator, you should be able to make choices. I mean, you are creating something from scratch. Are you going to carry it and take it down to 10 people to advise you? No. That doesn't happen. Okay, as a creative, you don't go about asking everybody, what do you think? Do you think is okay? What you don't go about looking for opinions, right? You know how to make choices after you have gone through the process of identifying the problem, of brainstorming a solution, of weighing your pros and your cons, and then you are able to dive in and make a choice. And then, of course, there is a place of reflection. Okay, after you have made the choice and you are going through the process, you are able to stop yourself and think, how far? I mean, I've come thus far. What are the issues here? What progress have I made? You should be able to stop, and they should be able to stop, right, and reflect at different points, right, why they are problem solving. Stop and reflect, because sometimes you would realize that you probably have made a wrong choice, and there's nothing at all, nothing absolutely wrong with it. All right, but reflection is there to help you go back and look back at where you are coming from, and that way you are able to either go back to the drawing board, or be able, I mean, you may be able to tweak a few things here and all of that. So reflection is very key even in this process. All right, the final one that we're going to be talking about is encouraging them or building resilience in your children. All right, so we must build resilience in our children if they are going to solve problems, if they are going to be people who can identify problems and solve problems in their environment. Then they must be people who are resilient. They must be people who are strong in their will. They must be people who are responsible. Okay, they take responsibility for the choices that they have made. They must be people who are ready to learn, and they definitely must be people who are ready to push. They must have a degree of passion that allows them keep pushing no matter how tough it is. All right, so how do we go about this in our parenting? In your parenting, you must be a parent that is constantly praising your children's efforts and not the person. You are constantly praising their effort and not the person. I see parents sometimes, they are hailing their children. Hey, you big guy, look at you. See how fine. Can anybody try? Can your daughter be? Can your son be? You're okay. It's all right. It's okay. I mean, you're beautiful. We are all beautiful, aren't we? All right. But if you focus your praise on the child's physical, attributes, if you focus your praises on your children's physical attributes, what you are doing to them invariably is you are teaching them, or you are filling their minds, right, to focus on physical things when they are trying to make choices. Remember, we are raising people who can problem solve. We're raising people who can create solutions, right? We're raising people who can think critically. We're raising people who can sieve the noise and sieve the physical, the shiny things, right? And pick the things that have got strength and not just the things that glitter. So if you teach your children and you help them focus on just physical looks, right, to things, then you are pointing them to failure. Really, you're putting them in a difficult situation. All right, so don't dwell on praising looks and praising you are beautiful, you are doing this, you are doing that. Okay, let your children know that you are beautiful the way you are. We are all beautiful, and let them not constantly hear you talk about how people or other people's stuff are not beautiful. All right, when you do this, you lay emphasis on physical beauty, as I said. And so when you lay emphasis on physical beauty, these are the kind of children that are constantly body shaming other people or are constantly fixed on how they look. And so that kind of child will get depressed just because of how they look. Someone was telling me about a child that, at 8, he's so body conscious. We have a lot of children like that. They are so body conscious, so body conscious. No, it didn't come from it didn't come from nothing. It came from something. It came from what our emphasis have been. It came from the praise, the emphasis that we have placed on physical things and what is physical beauty, right? Because of that, right? This is what our children have become focused on. So they are so tied to looks, So these kind of children are the ones that are easily bullied by by other people based on their looks. All right. So these are the children who walk past, especially for girls. These are the kind of children who walk past and people are laughing and the child is miserable because the child is so engrossed and is so fixed on how they look. So people are laughing and he's there. Oh, she's there, analyzing. Is it my leg? Is it the shape of my leg? Is it my weight? Is it my this? Why are you stressing these children like this? All right. Just because. Now, these are the children that something happens somewhere along the line. Something happens to them or to anybody. We all know that this physical body, anything can happen. And then you see them hating themselves or hating other people because the emphasis has always been on their looks. So if you emphasize and you are always about their looks, it means that the day they lose that look, then they lose their essence. The day a person that they, attributed so much to, the day the person loses that look, then they lose every interest in that person because they're not able to see beyond the physical because you have praised the physical for the longest. Okay, and it will be even with you. You are their mother. You're the one hating, or a time will come, you will become frail and not so pretty because all the all the honor and all the pride that they have in you is because you're that pretty mommy and all of that. So your children are proud of you because of how pretty you are, of how well you dress and all of that. A time comes in your life for some reason or some challenge, and that beauty or whatever, all of this aesthetics are not there anymore, and you realize even your child will start resenting you because you focused on the superficial. All right. So this is why we say praise their efforts, okay, and downplay the physical beauty. Okay, we're not saying call them uglier. No, you are beautiful. Let them know that they are beautiful the way they are. Anyhow you are beautiful. Anyhow at all you are beautiful. All right, that is it. All right, so do that. And then the other thing you want to do is you want to, of course, help the children learn how to reflect. Self-reflections, okay? Self-reflection. Help your children create a pattern in the way that they do the things that they do. Let them have a pattern, something that is unique to them. All right, this is what is unique to you. This is your pattern of doing things. Of course, let them understand that they can seek support on their journey. Seek support every time, all right, on their journey, all right. So when it's getting tough, when you don't have the solutions, when you don't have the answer, seek for support, seek for help, all right. Don't be too wise in your own eyes. Don't be too intelligent for yourself. Don't be too excellent, or what do you call it? Don't be such a perfectionist that you don't believe any other person can do it, because we have people like that. People will feel that they are the only ones that can do it well, and so you would take everything and put on your table, on your plate, and you are overwhelmed because somewhere a little voice tells you in your head that every other person is not enough, or every other person will do a bad job at it. You are the only one that can serve and deliver a good job. So that's it. You want to finish yourself. You want to do everything, not because you're so hardworking, but just because you cannot trust any other person. So you don't know how to ask for help and all of that. Now, there's the other set of people that's because you are what you are, you have now made yourself a standard. You have made yourself a standard, and then you begin to judge everybody with yourself as a standard or as a yardstick. We do this as parents, and we raise children who become like this also. So they judge everybody's action. Nobody has sense. Nobody does it well. So when you sit down with your children, sadly so, when you sit down with your children, you are constantly castigating, judging this person, castigating that person, talking about how this person doesn't do it well, talking about how this one is done. So your children are listening to you, and they are buying into this, and they are taking on this same way of life. And before you know it, your children begin to judge everybody. It is only you people that are good. Every other person, you see someone has done something, just praise the effort or just celebrate the person. You must look for something, because it is not you or your children. You must look for something that they did that is not good enough, because you must always judge every other person. You are the only person. In fact, you will find that this kind of people, how you know them, you will find that something, I mean, when the person owns this pen, this kind of pen, for instance, this pen becomes beautiful. This pen is beautiful, it's the best pen in the world, and all of that. Now, the day they lose this pen, or they don't have this kind of pen, and another person has this kind of pen, that pen is not so nice anymore. That pen is not a good pen anymore, because it is not in their hands. So you see these people, when they do a particular thing, it's okay. When it's some other person that is doing that thing, you will see them, or you will hear them judging that same thing, and you're wondering, come on now, this is the same thing this person did the other day, right? A lot of times they even forget that they did it. And that's because it's not because that thing is poorly done. It's because they have a problem with everybody. So they are constantly looking for what to pull down. They're constantly looking for what to judge, not necessarily because there's anything wrong. So this kind of people, tell your children, if they have this kind of friends, to always tell them, I am not your problem. You know, I'm not your problem, right? I say that to my son every time. If people come at you, right, just because of who you are, the way you choose to do the things you do, and they want to show you there's another way, and they all, because, you know, how do you call it? They are more, all right? Always tell them, guy, move. I'm not your problem. I am not your problem. Go look for your problem. All right. So it's very, very key that we do this. And then help your children allow failure as a tool. Do not let them know that failure is a tool. So in solving those problems, in looking for those solutions, in trying out the solutions to any problem at all. And when I talk about this problem could be as simple as making a meal. This problem could be as simple as their schoolwork. This problem could be as simple as fixing something in their room that is bad. It could be as simple as finding what to wear, and all of these. These are all problems. Let your children identify the things in their environment that could be a problem, and let them look for ways to solve these problems. And while doing that, if they fail, let them know that failure is a tool. Failure is a tool. So use it to try again, and then get it right. It doesn't matter. You may get it right the first time, it's fine. The second time is fine. Even if you have to do it 5 times, keep doing it until you get it right. When we do this, then we're raising children who can think critically, who can solve problems, who can create solutions, and who can be valuable to themselves, to you as a family, to their community, and to the world at large. This is the templates that we use when we work with the children in the mastermind. In the mastermind circle, there is no wrong answer. There is no right answer. In the mastermind circle, there is no wrong perspective. There is no right perspective. In the mastermind circle, we are a work in progress. We are constantly working, and the children's efforts are praised every time. So the effort, the effort, the effort, the effort, the effort. I know their efforts, but I even know their faces, right? I know their efforts, right? I can see a child's report, and I know the report more than I even know the face. I may not be able to tie you to your face even, but I can tie your effort and what you do. I see your work, and I know this is you, because it is your effort that matters the most. If you'd like your child to be a part of the mastermind circle, we have it scrolling on your screen right now. You can go ahead and use the information. We will soon shut down registration for the Mastermind Circle very soon. So, but you can still get in right now. We got people who got in the last few days. You can still also enroll your 6 to 13-year-olds. So your 13-year-old who comes has to stay with us for a whole year until they are 14. Until they are 14, and then at the end of the cohort, we graduate them. If your child just turned 14, they can also come in and they can be with us throughout this cohort, and they still get to graduate before they become 15. All right, very key. It's such an amazing foundation ground for any child at all. All right, for young children and of course our preteens. All right, we also have a course that is coming up very soon. Okay, today, as a matter of fact, we have that course coming up, and in that course we are going to be working with children who want to work on their talents, who want to work on their gifts, who want to be on a journey with us for a period. Okay, we'll be on that journey for a period, and in that period the children will launch small projects, the children will execute those small projects, we will work with the children to become confident in their ability, you know, and all of that. So it's a 4-weekend program, where at the end of the day, the children, at the end of those 4 weeks, the child will be so grounded in their self-awareness. The child will be so aware of themselves, aware of their strength, and they can create a project in this 1 month. In this 1 month, we will stay with them through that project until they execute that project in this 1 month. All right, so we'll be sharing the flyer. If you have a child between 8 and 14, you can register them and let's work with them. We'll be working with experts, we'll be working with me, they will be working with me, and then they will be working with other experts. Thank you very much for being a part of today's show. All right, if you got value from the show, let us know in the comment section that you got value today. If you caught the replay, let us also know, and let us know the aha moments that you had during the session. Thank you for joining me again. I'll see you in next week's episode of the Skillup Show. You can also join us for our How Can I Support My Child series every Thursday at 7 p.m. in the evening. Thank you again, and do have an amazing week ahead. Bye for now.